Welcome to the Web3 Builders Journal, the ultimate storytelling podcast for builders in the space. Join us as we dive into the journeys of A Plus founders, exploring the strategies they use to become who they are today. Tune in and get inspired.
Welcome to WBJ podcast. Web3 Builders Journal podcast, and this is a podcast whereby we document stories of builders in the space, leaders in the space, guys that are adding value to the space, guys that wants to see this space move forward, and they are doing their best to make everything happen. And thank you so much, Mr. Mayur, for joining this podcast today. And I'm so delighted to have you here. And I'm so sure that today a lot of people will be learning from your experience.
Amazing. Well, thanks so much for having me.
You're welcome once again. Now, I would be starting with the question: who is Mr. Mayur? Who are you in this space?
So Mayur is kind of, a guy who's looking to build out his own, name, his own personal brand in the Web3 space. And he's also the guy who's, pushing the boundaries as much as, with the potential that he has. And his only goal has to be, to build a good network and have, some good relationship with the people who, he comes across. So my personal goal has definitely always have been, networking, seeking values and, seeking different ways on how I can, provide, value to other people that I know in the space. And obviously, builders who are making really great products or, service, or we can say experiences in the Web3 space. So that's, a little bit about me. I've been in the Web3 space for about 4 years now. I started my initial journey back in 2020. That's also the time when I was working with my Web2 job. So I was involved with, a couple of companies. We were dealing with, as a digital marketer, we were doing or, providing service around e-commerce, software solutions. And 2020 was the first time that I, obviously heard about crypto. I would not say I'm one of those OGs who started their journey in, 2013 or 2015, but I, kind of got into crypto space, kind of comparatively late. But that's also the time when, the real, I would say the starting of the mass adoption, or I would say the first, peak happened. So that's a little bit about me.
Thank you so much for that. I think there's a lot to learn more about you. And you said you've been in the Web3 space for like 4 years. Now, before you joined into the Web3 space, what have you been doing? What's your background like, and how did you find yourself in the Web3 space?
Yeah, this is an interesting story, so basically I have graduated as an engineer. So I was a mechanical engineer, and my, journey in my career journey basically started out as a design engineer. So I used to work with, industry in India, and we were so my job was kind of to build and design the machine. So, starting from scratch, doing their 2D drawings, and then, putting out the workshop plans, and also making 3D models, doing a lot of rendering, and basically communicating the clients that how the machine is going to be look like, and what are different parameters for that, and as well as that's when I also started to realize that I'm not much of a person who will go for a long run in this industry, because my initial goal was to get into tech space, but due to my qualification, right, I had to definitely start from this way, and then eventually simultaneously I was also doing a lot of research around artificial intelligence. Back in 2017, those were like really, really early days. So I was listening to a lot of podcasts. Let's say I was listening to a lot of Reid Hoffman's podcast. And then, I also was following, let's say a couple of guys on Twitter, like, Eric Voorhees. And that's when, I started to realize the potential of the blockchain and, obviously the Bitcoin. And that's how, the thing started. And I, basically I was suck down the rabbit hole, I would say.
Wow, 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 wow. I love that. I love your story
So
about
looking back, it's really in a retrospect, it's really something where you cannot connect the dots, but like Steve Jobs said, right, it's all about connecting the dots. One thing leads to another, and that's how you sort of end up in a place where you eventually wanted to be. So I would say it was really I'm really grateful for those experiences, and people that I've met along the way.
Mhm. Yeah. Do you know one surprising thing about your journey is that how you have moved from being a mechanical engineer to a marketing consultant in the space. Now, how were you able to do that? Because I believe that before you can even become marketer, you must have at least gotten some
Yep.
experiences and checking through your page and your portfolio. I found out that you have actually worked with a lot of A plus brands, and this is something that you must actually review the secret how you became a marketing consultant in those short years. What was the journey
Yeah.
like? Were there special courses, any special mentorship, and all those things?
Yeah, definitely. So basically, like while I was working on my, the mechanical job, simultaneously I was also doing the research in, tech, and basically building the skill sets that I can use to get into, to land actually a very first job into IT, or somewhere around tech industry. So basically, I first of all, like I did the whole research, and explored the skill set that I really need to get into to at least secure a job, and get the ball rolling. So I thought that doing freelancing was the easiest option at that time, because I don't also have to worry about putting my real job behind. I can also like start freelancing in my free time, and basically use the internet as much as I can. So there's this guy in India. He's called he has his actually he's the guy who sort of um when I came across him, he's the one who sort of kind of inspired me to make actual Wi-Fi money. So when I say Wi-Fi money, right? So basically, I was working in this job, and it was basically paying me for all of the hours that I work for them and all the skill set that I have, right? So it's totally off the internet. And when I started doing research around how people are making money on the internet, so that's like when things became very interesting to me, and I started to dig deep into that hole, and like learn new skills such as email, how to communicate with clients, how to grow your personal brand on social media, and what sort of content people are putting out there that we can leverage, and what are basically current trends, and the overall general knowledge about the industry. So that's how I got into freelancing. I landed my first contract in 2019. It was nothing but content writing contract, where I provide them with basically the SEO content. They wanted to write some blogs, so I give them the whole work over the course of a month, and they really liked it, and they sort of offered me another contracts, and that's how things became you know that's when the ball started to roll, actually. So it's pretty much crazy, looking back, it's pretty much crazy how I got here.
It seems almost everyone gets into this space through content. Yeah.
Yeah.
Well,
I think like the Web3 space is like, it was never the space, right? It was never actually an industry. People, when we were in the early days, people were relying on their, I mean, there are like still more than 50 to 60% people in the Web3 space who have to, or who are relying on their Web2 jobs, or in the other tech industry, or any other area. And some of them are doing trading, some of them are doing let's say networking, some of them are also in this space for, let's say, the opportunity to invest. So that's what makes this space very much interesting, and also the people, right? Because everyone has having like different journey, and so far, like I've met like so many people from like various different part of the world. And when I was like, in my college days, so that was basically my goal, that how I can, take my skill set and, land into opportunity, which is global, not like local. So that was basically, the mindset, and that's what, got me here.
Okay. Then, yeah, I so much believe that during this process, like during this your growth process of becoming a consultant, like a marketing consultant, I believe so much that there are a lot of challenges that comes with each levels. Like first of all, the basic level now, the first level when you were so curious about the industry, about the space, you were like, okay, what's this space all about? There's a challenge that is attributed to that level. Now, when you started, okay, when you started getting the concept of this of the industry, and you're looking for, okay, how do I dip my feet and fit into this? What else? What am I supposed to do? There's a challenge to that. And now that okay, when you are still an intermediate at this intermediate level, whereby okay, you've gotten the experience, but you know that there is still more steps to climb. I know there's still a challenge to that. Then presently, now that you're a consultant, you have been working with brands have been coming to you, even you are actually building your own personality over there. I still believe that there's still a challenge. Can you please highlight these challenges that you have been facing all through?
Definitely. So this is really, interesting question, and also like, important topic that we should discuss. So the first thing before you get into any other field, whether it's related to work, whether it's related to your education or, any other subject, in the overall spectrum, the first thing is you should definitely have yourself educated with, the technology, educated with the tools, and at least on the least level, you should be, you should get exposed to with the basic stuff. I mean, the jargons and the terms, and what are different trends in the industry. So what I did was I read this book. It's called Digital Gold, and it was written by New York Times author. I think his name is I actually forgot his name, but it's called Digital Gold. So basically, it describes how the early days of the Bitcoin. I think his author is Nathaniel Popper. Yeah, that's actually his name. And I read this book, and then actually I was an avid reader from the very beginning, since I was a kid, or I would say I was in college. I used to read a lot of books about different topics. So I firstly read that book, and it basically gave me the whole overview of how the Bitcoin works, how the blockchain technology gets into existence, and how the Bitcoin community actually started from the early days of cypherpunks. We are talking about people like Eric Voorhees. We are talking about people like Charlie Shrem. So those were the OGs who I actually created the whole industry around cryptocurrency, and obviously the Bitcoin, because Bitcoin is definitely the king of Web3. So I also started to invest my income, partial income into Bitcoin, and also that's the more ripple effect it had around the industry, the more people started to came across cryptocurrency, and the 2021 boom and NFT space, and all the crazy stuff. And now we are here. But definitely first stage is definitely to educate yourself about it. Read a lot of stuff, read books, online articles, videos, and all that stuff. And apart from that, you also need to know how to work with other people, right?
Yes.
Because we are dealing with people, you might never know who will be the next person that you will be working with, and what are the cultures that they are coming from, and what are professional backgrounds that you have to sort of encounter, right? So you also have to have a very good understanding of let's say how to work with the team, or how to synchronize with other people, or whether it's work, whether it's any general approach in the networking, and also how to share value. Because if you just think about this one way route of how you can actually make money and not other people can, this is one way street. You will definitely not get out of that route if you are just seeking for the financial incentives, right? So I remember my early days, I was kind of pretty much hanging out in the Discord random community, on Discord. and one of the guy DM'd me, and he actually told me that, hey, we are like working on this NFT project, and we are looking for someone who can, pretty much handle our social media. And I came across your Twitter, and you seem to be pretty good, because back in those days, like, I was going really heavy on Twitter. So I grew my Twitter from 200 followers to 2000 followers in, let's say, 2020. So at that time I used to have 2000 followers on Twitter, and it was kind of pretty much big deal, right? Because in the early days, if you are like tweeting about all the trending stuff about crypto and NFTs and everything, then you will definitely position yourself different from others, right? So at first, like, initially I thought that it was a scam, but then I asked them about their Twitter, and then I asked them for their website, and I did some research around that, and those guys seem to be pretty much legit to me. So basically they were from Russia, right? So they had this very big language barrier, so they were not very much good at speaking English. And they were basically looking for someone who can, communicate with other people, who can, help them manage the community, make announcements on Twitter and Discord and all that stuff. So that's how I, landed my first opportunity, and they, gave me a lot of free NFTs. Apart from that, also, I did not work for money when I started, working with projects in the Web3 space. So I just we just had this contract where they were supposed to give me either the tokens or either, the NFTs if it was an NFT project. And we kind of had this really great, synchronization. They liked how I was, very attentive to the work, and also very much precise when, making announcements, and how to take, community, how to get community excited about the next thing we are going to drop. Because basically I was just copying and learning from other projects who were making very big waves, right? That's how you learn, by iterating what's actually trending in the industry. So I implemented those ideas for the people I work with. So yeah, man, it's very long story. And then, like I told you, the compound effect, right? The good thing about networking is the compound effect. So if you do one, if you develop one good relationship with let's say 2 people, then, they will not hesitate to introduce you with other people. And then, then you get to the next thing and the next. And that's how pretty much I, got myself here. I would not say I'm in a very great position, but I'm doing good. And yeah, of course, you have to put in efforts every day. You can't just be sit around all day wasting your time on the internet. So yeah, that's, I guess, I hope that answers your it at least gives the clarification on the process, right? Because everyone is kind of wanted to grow in this space, right?
Yeah. Then what about presently? Because now if I should get it right, you said the first thing is to get educated, learn more about the industry, get educational tools, just know more, continue to seek for knowledge, and continue to learn. And the second step is learn how to work with people, learn how to network, learn how to share value. Don't just be there working for the money, get the people for the experience. Now, what about presently that you are now a consultant? What do you think is needed to solve the challenge that comes with being a consultant? Because I'm so certain you are going to be facing challenges with projects, facing challenges with people and all those things. So what is needed?
For sure. I think, when dealing with, my clients, the first thing that I try to do is understand their product, right? So we are taking a different approach here. So, when we are talking about, things on social media, then and growth, right? So those have, their own different strategy. But when, dealing with your first client, I guess, the first thing that you should know is definitely to understand their product. So it could be, any protocol, it could be a tool, it could be a platform, it could be, a DEX, or it could be a SEX, or it could be, a Web3 game, right? So first thing you do is, try to understand the product. You sort of, interact with the tools, you, read everything that they have, basically put out for the product. It could be a white paper, it could be, the basically the idea board. And once you do that, once you get yourself educated with the product, so the next thing is definitely to find the patterns on how other people have leveraged their what type of strategy is actually working in the industry right now. Because if you see that, we used to have so much hype around NFTs, that's totally crazy. It doesn't really work anymore, because back then the technology was kind of early, and right now there are so many sophisticated traders, there are so many sophisticated developers in the Web3 space right now who have interacted with so many dApps, who have interacted or used so many protocols. They know and basically understand the technology, not just how the blockchain work, but how you understand complex terms and let's say the features on those applications, and how to find the appropriate users. Because right now the strategy that works for Web3 game doesn't really work for people who are into building a crypto protocol or a crypto launchpad. So your ICP, your ideal customer, are different, and also your USP is also different according to a specific niche. So you have to first learn about the product, and then you do the market research. Because a lot of the people, or I have also seen a lot of founders, they don't put so much effort into market research. They don't try to even understand their competitors and what made them successful. So you have to, that's how you sort of evolve, right? Because you have to do the market research after realizing your product potential, and also the what type of effect it's leaving on its users, and what's the retention rate, what's let's say what brings their users back to their ecosystem, how they interact, and what sort of incentives they are looking for. So those are the things that you do step by step. I guess that's what that's how you put a good plan, you put a good strategy. And talking about challenges, right? So definitely there are a lot of challenges, because every day, if you talk about one specific trend which is currently trending right now, right? The meme coins. So back in the last month, alone in the June of May, there have been more than 500,000 meme coins that launched on Solana. And we can say that majority of the trading volume on Solana is coming because of the meme coins. Because I have not seen any good, Web3 game that people are building on Solana. I have not built any recent, let's say a DEX that built on Solana, except for a couple of names like, Jupiter, and then we have Farm.farm, any other, other protocols out there. So currently people are just, obviously the market is going sideways right now, and we are not, we are not getting opportunities to, let's say leverage our, gains, right? The financial gains. So the challenge right now is definitely to, how to get through this, cycle where you can eventually become independent of, the hype cycle. Because we are dealing with, let's say, very lucrative and I would say speculative markets, right? Where you cannot make certain mistakes, such as if you are about to launch token, then you cannot skip any step. And you cannot, when I say skipping any step, right? The thing I want to mention is definitely doing enough market research, and what's going to be the utility that's going to be attached with your token. And also, if you are talking about a game, then what sort of games are people willing to play? If not for, buying your NFTs. Outside of that, what's different that you are doing other than, everything what's actually currently happening right now. So I guess those are the challenges for people in the Web3 space right now.
Wow. This actually shows your expertise, because you just highlighted the challenges that the industry, like almost every brand or every project building something related to what you have said, are actually in these issues now. Because the first thing, if I got it clearly, the first thing that you said is just understand the product, understand market research. And I think market research is one of the issues that some projects are just having. They believe they have a value to put out there, but they don't understand what the market is saying right now. So that is why
Yeah.
I see a lot of projects, tools, platforms are just after their launch, after like 2 months, 3 months, they just die off. Now, I could remember a story from Leon Abud. I don't know if you know the guy. He's the unforgivable
Yeah.
founder. Yeah.
Yeah, I definitely know him. And,
Yeah.
actually, I have a Telegram group with Leon, and he's definitely, really great guy.
Oh, wow, that's love. So he was sharing story like it was on a pod with Jeremy Horn with talking about the overworld story and how they were able to wait patiently to time the market before they could launch. Like they
Yeah.
wanted to launch at a certain time, but the market was so bad at that time. So they had to wait, Then when they says that okay, there's a gaming signal coming into the market, they just had to position well and launch, and it was a successful launch. Yeah. We just discussed everything that every project must know. And it's not just about the project, it's about making the team to understand all these processes. Now I want to ask, have you ever worked with projects that you have found out that okay, this is a problem, this is going to be a problem for you at the later on? Can we do this? Can we do that? And they felt like no. We already have our plans and all those things. How were you able to come into resolution with that? Is it that you abandon those kind of projects, or you work with your own plan where you actually know that that plan might not be successful? Have you gotten that kind of experiences before?
Yeah, definitely. And I been through those kind of challenges. I think it's like, recently, like last year. So I have been working with this, Web3 marketing agency as, consultant basically, and also, as a contractor. So we had this one client. They have, a debt aggregator, and basically our job was to, take care of their business development activities. And especially my job was, since I'm a networking guy, so I usually take care of partnerships and, collaborations. So I was supposed to reach out to the projects who wants to, implement the SDKs for, let's say any other product, any other, protocol who's L2 or L1. And if they want to implement a cross-chain swap into their platform or into their ecosystem, so we basically provide them, the SDKs for that. And my job was to reach out to those potential, projects and basically offer them the SDKs. And then, we do the next steps like, the co-marketing and also community announcements and all that. But the idea behind doing that was to get, the passive revenue from, the SDKs that other project implement. So if they implement the SDKs, then every transaction that goes through those, cross-chain swaps, so the, DEX aggregator that we used to work with, they will get, small percentage of fee, and that's how they will get exposed to the passive income rate. That's how they use their trading activity. So the challenge that we had was like there were so many other competitors who were, let's say, offering the same product, and they were also offering the different rates. I mean, convenient rates, also the less percentage in trading fees. So which was, a challenge for us. So we I personally reached out to more than 300, crypto protocols, L2s and L1s. And the conversion rate was pretty much, below average. So we broke partnerships like more than out of those 300 projects that we reached out. So the conversion rate was below 10%. So we did 15 to 20 partnerships. But the reason for that, after iterating for a brief period of time, because we know that how speculative the market is, right? And your users could be directed into other protocols if you are not going with the trend, and if you are not doing, let's say, putting enough efforts to understand your user journey and how what makes what pretty much increase the retention rate, right? So while we were focusing on the partnerships, the users were expecting a different updates or different features from the DEX itself, because they had this mobile application and they also have the web application. But if we, our target audience was basically coming from the mobile phones, and we had less feature on mobile phones and more on the web app. So that's, like the challenge that we had, and it took us a long time to realize that, or this is the root cause, and this is where we should put more efforts. And they had so many meetings. They agreed on to forming a decentralized autonomous organization. So they, basically formed a DAO, and they, realized that, every update that we should be putting out, it should be first, get approved from the DAO. If we get the majority of the votes, then we should be rolling out, new features, new updates onto the platform, and where, what are different verticals that we will be choosing to provide the more value, right? So that's, a good, one of the examples. So that's how, you used to get into, let's say, thinking about ways on how to you technically solve a problem, and how you also increase the retention rate, because everything comes down to one thing, which is your users.
You said as a partnership manager, as the guy in charge of partnerships and collaborations. Now, can you just tell us what's your partnership process? How do you seek out, okay, these are the guys that are relevant to what we are building. These are the guys that give us maximum result that is needed, and all those things. Because why I'm asking these questions is that this partner is dedicated to two categories of people: newbies that are coming into the space and they want to become marketing consultants like you, and guys that are actually building presently and they want to say, okay, who is this person that can give us the right the right partnerships, the right KOLs and all those things. So they might actually listen to this podcast and find out, okay, this is valuable, I can get across to this person.
For sure. So definitely, you have to rely on so many tools. If you have to, if you are working solely across, the partnership verticals. So where do you find the trending projects, right? And where do you find the projects who are actually wanting your, let's say, who actually are good fit for the, basically the proposal that you're offering. So, tools like CoinMarketCap, and then I use, Lunar Crush, and then I also use, let's say, ICO drops. And obviously the first, the most important factor is definitely you should be more active on Twitter, because Twitter is basically acting out as a news platform for the Web3, all things that happens in the Web3 space.
Yes.
If it's a big scam, even if it's a big announcement, even if it's a big launch. So everything is first step is definitely it has to go through Twitter, and then you read about that on any other Web3 PR platform, right? After it happens. And so definitely you should be always be looking out for this type of opportunities. And how do you differentiate that is you go out and check out the platform, and if they are not offering, if they are not having the feature that you are offering to other partners, then you know that it's a right fit for your partnership, right? And also start with reaching out to your personal network. Start out with you should always have your chats anywhere, on Discord, on Telegram, on Twitter, on LinkedIn. You should always have a database of all of the contacts that you have. So let's say if if you have a good amount of networks on Twitter, and let's suppose that if for some reason your Twitter accounts get suspended, or you lost, or you get hacked, then how do you how do you reach out to those connections, right? So if you have a list somewhere, maybe on the Google Sheet, maybe on on any other resources that you might have. So if you build your database, your personal database, and if you, let's say, organize it according to specific industry experts, or a specific type of group, right? So if you have that, you can leverage that. You can basically filter out what type of contacts you need to get specific things done. So you do that, and you go through the list, and you find the right people, you approach them, and that's how you sort of make the ripple effect, right?
Wow, that's insightful. That's insightful. So now, what was your advice? What was your advice to newer projects coming into this space? okay, let me channel it to gaming projects coming into the space, because I can see that you are in partnership with some certain gaming project. Am I right? I think, yeah,
It's called Nick.
yeah. So what's your advice for gaming project coming into the space? Do you think the market is so responsible now to get launch and get a successful also called a successful launch, or there are a strategy to put in place if their launch is going to be successful?
Yeah, so definitely, they should be focused more onto, I mean, we are talking about the user's perspective, right? How to get, I mean, how to think on in terms of user acquisition. So I've seen, this really one thing, because right now, if you, take out the Web3 gaming industry, then one thing that's leading the industry is actually the KOLs. And when I say KOLs, right, I don't mean people with, like 100K followers on Twitter, like 200K followers on Twitter, and, like people like Bryson, right? I mean, those are definitely, like the guys that you should be looking out for. But when it comes to approaching for, to how to get the users, right? I mean, you should be definitely focused on micro-influencers. And when I say micro-influencers, I mean people who are actively playing the games and who are putting out the reviews. So you can, how do you find those type of people? So you can use, Twitter advanced search. You can also, find them on Reddit. You can also find them on Telegram. And the best thing to find those type of people is definitely the YouTube. Because there's not a lot of creators who are, creating content around Web3 gaming. And there are only few people who we can say that those are acting as KOLs in the industry. So basically, like, if you just have to look out for, people who are actually engaging with those creators and who are like, let's say behaving or mimicking their behaviors, right? So there are a lot of people who don't really have supposedly like a big following on Twitter, but they are really like, into gaming. They really know how a different type of games work, and they really know about, the user experience. So the first thing is definitely like, leverage those social media tools. And then, if we are talking about user acquisition and, growth, then definitely like, you should be focusing on more partnerships. You should also look out for, Web2 projects who already have a lot of Web2 users and who are already launched on platform like Stam. And then we have Epic Games Store. And then, like there are a lot of other platforms. So you can actually reach out to those people. You can offer them, an opportunity for basically a partnership, a collaboration, a community effort. Also, I guess like, a lot of platforms like Galaxy and Zilly and, Trapeze, they are like, they are providing great incentives and, let's say UI and also like, tools to increase and improve your community. So because like, with Myth, we got like, on Zilly, we got like more than 12,000 people, and those are the people who actually like, came from Zilly itself by, let's say you can also like incentivize them. If you are planning for an airdrop, if you are planning for a private token round. But first thing is definitely like, let's say find those users on definitely social media, and then like leverage the partnerships, and then, like you keep scaling from that.
Okay. Thank you so much. I wouldn't know if you have any other thing to add before I ask the last two questions. Yeah.
Well, nice.
Okay. So now, what is a day like in your life? Like, I know we're pretty somehow tedious. You have notifications up and down, guys disturbing you. Hey, maybe you have to do this, all those other stuff. So now, how do you spend your day?
Definitely like, when I started actually in the Web3 space, so since I was dealing with people in different time zones, and since I'm in India, right? So we have like, UTC, UTC plus 5,
Right.
and actually like a lot of clients that I had, they were from either from the US, either from the Europe, or either from, it's always the case that they are from different time zone. So the first thing that I do is definitely to organize all the tasks. So for that, I also like use a lot of tools such as Notion, and then, with that. I'm really, like big fan of Notion, so I find it very, productive. So you should definitely just opt out to, use those productivity tools. Of course, use ChatGPT to organize your tasks. So how I start my day is usually I, start my work around 11 a.m. and I prioritize all the daily tasks, break them down into actionable steps, and then it's always nice to have a to-do list. And then usually I have 6 to 7 calls. I guess sometimes 10 calls in a week. And definitely to organize your calendar, because if you are not organizing your calendar, then you will be pretty much beating around the bush, right? So it's really messes up your working schedule. So definitely you should leverage your calendar, and then obviously try to get as much as efforts you can put to create your personal brand. And if not, either if you are not very much into personal branding, then at least try to network on social media. Definitely Twitter, Telegram and LinkedIn are the best platforms. Try to see other content creators and other people on any other platform, right? Like how they are approaching the markets, how they are approaching the projects, and how they are pretty much where they are focusing their energy, right? So that's what I try to do. And over the week I at least try to learn one new protocol or either one new platform, because back in those days, Socialify and DeFi, those were the things that were pretty much trending. So there are a lot of also the financial opportunity to make some money. And also, if not making money, then you should be at the end of the day learning a new thing, and basically you can use that to optimize your strategy, right? So definitely learning should be your number one priority. And then yep.
Wow. Then how do you do this? Like, how do you spend your time now? Because I so much believe that you have highlighted a lot of work, and
Yeah.
you have to enjoy yourself. So how do you do that?
Yeah. So definitely I try to not do pretty much any work during the weekends, because since I'm married, right? I recently got married, in February. It's been more than 4 months now. Yeah.
Congratulations.
Yeah, thanks so much, man. So you should really try to enjoy your life. I mean, it's not always you should opt to, let's say, always think about how to create or make more money, how to improve yourself. You just also have to go with the flow sometimes, and obviously take care of your health. Try to not be much more caffeinated during the weekend, and also just go out into the nature, rewind, and try to just relax. I'm also I love cooking, so I cook dinner every day myself.
I just wanted to ask about that.
Yeah, I've been learning a lot of Italian dishes lately. So I can make very good pastas. I can make 3 to 4 different variants of pasta. Of course, I cannot make pizza because we don't have the microwave that that you should have to make a good pizza. But a lot of Indian dishes, and yeah, I try to also stay healthy. Every day I go for my morning jog. So I take out 40 to 45 minutes, just go out into the park and have my jogging, and just not think about too much about the work when I wake up, because I've been in this in the times, there were times where I used to stay late as much as 3 to 4 a.m. in the night, and then wake up at 12 p.m. So my schedule was really messy, and it started to affect my health. So always I always try to strike a good balance between work and health.
Okay, then let me ask this question: how is Indian and Web3, the Web3 space in India? How do you think, is it growing, or you still need more guys, or is there any government policy that is causing friction in adoption? Yeah.
Yeah, definitely. Like, the tax situation around crypto in India is really much the first thing that's causing the friction, because not a lot of, like, but majority of the company who's dealing with blockchain or Web3 or crypto, they are moving their, headquarters they are registering to different countries like, Middle East or Australia or, Europe. I guess Europe is also like not looking very much good for, the taxes, but a lot of these companies are moving to Dubai or Australia just because of the tax situation and compliance we have around crypto. But if we talk about, overall, let's say excitement around the industry, then I would say that, it's pretty much, growing recently, and especially from the last, 1 year, I have seen so many people who's, getting full-time into the Web3. I have, a lot of friends who are into Bitcoin mining, who are into like, mining industry, and who are also in crypto actively, like, investing. So yeah, like India is definitely going to be, the next, let's say, also, like the Africa, some of the coders or, programmers in Nigeria are also, like, competing, Western industries, and also because of 100% because of, the cheap labor cost, right? Like people are from India and, like, Africa or, Asia are known in the industry as the laborers, but right now we are, like, flipping that trend. We are, like, we are becoming the creator, and we are, like, like hiring people from the West. So, like, I'm not a racist or, I'm not taking all of these, like, things for, like, granted or stuff like that, but that narrative is, like, getting flipped. So I'm seeing, like, a lot of people from India are, like, doing or building, like, really great projects or, products, and they are, like, definitely, competing with, the industry, and they are really doing some great stuff out there. So I try to, like, learn from them, but overall, like, I'm a global citizen, so I'll be definitely, like, like open to take any approach.
Okay, thank you so much. Thank you so much, Mayur, for being on this podcast. Thank you for sharing these experiences so far. So much. I'm so sure that a lot of guys that will be coming on to listen would get a lot of value from this. Yeah.